And this is the first chapter. In yesterday's class, we already discussed about that air pollutions. What is air pollution? What are the sources of the air pollutions? And what are the global sources and what are the impact of anthropogenic sources? In that third unit also we covered yesterday, that is a behavior and the effect of air pollutants and the effects of the air pollutions, and that what are that indoor air pollution. All these five chapters which are already we discussed in the yesterday's class. Now in today's class we are going to discuss about that what are the remaining unit, which is present in that your block 1, that is unit 6, named as that air pollution laws and standards. And also we are going to deal with that what are the meteorological aspects and what are the air pollution dispersions, temperature, lapse rate and stability. And these are the three chapters and main topics today we are going to discuss. So just wait. Yes. Okay. Uh, Yeah, okay. In this block one, the unit 6, the air pollution, and the laws, air pollution and the laws and the standards. And as of yesterday, all are were aware about that what is the air pollution, right? That is nothing but air pollution means the unwanted substances, which are unwanted substances are the harmful substances which are present in that air or contaminate the natural nature of the air, that is nothing but the air pollution. uh, in this air pollution chapter, some laws and standards are particular standards, are choose particular standards are there uh, to control the air pollution. When we are going to follow these laws and the standards, we have to control the air pollution very easily. So in that one, first one is the key laws and the regulation on the air pollutions. What are the key laws which are present to regulate the to regulations on the air pollution? First one, the United States. Um, the Clean Air Act. First one is that of in the United States, they introduced that one act in 1970. That is known as that a Clean Air Act, means CAA. CAA means here the Clean Air Act passed in 1970 and amended as the several times, notable in the 1970. So it is amended. It is amended for after 7 years and after 3 years in the means of 1977 as well as the 1990. Mm. The 1919 is a primary federal law that to government's air pollution control in the USA. So US government took a law that is called as the Clear Air Act, that is CAA, passed in that act in the year of 1970. It is amended in 1977 after 23 years, and again it is amended in 1990. So it is a basic primary law in the US to control the air pollutions, right? The National Ambient Air Quality Standards. What are the standards? NAA QS means National Ambient Air Quality Standards. The Clean Air Act empowers the Environmental Protection Agency. So which agency can empowers this law is nothing but that Environmental Protection Agency to set the air quality standards for harmful pollutants. These are included. So what are the harmful pollutants which are present in that air? For that pollutants only, that EPA committee is nothing but the Environmental Protection Agency committee can relieve the standards, can relieve the quality standards, means particular limit of the particular chemicals is suitable for that air, based on that weather and topographical, and what are the status of that particular area. So what are the key, what are the key pollutants of the air pollution? Already we know about that. Are any dusty particle, are any fine particulate matter, that is 2.5 pm, is nothing but the particulate matter is 2.5. And next one is the ozone, O3, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, lead, and the volatile organic compounds. Volatile organic compounds. These are the some key pollutants of our air pollutions. The National Environmental Protection Agency give the standards about this few chemicals. State that. So wait a minute. Okay. In that next. Next one is the already we discussed, right? State implementation plans. State implementation plans. Each state must submit a plan to the EPA. EPA already we know that Environmental Protection Agency, dealing how it will meet and maintain that national amended air quality standards for each and every state, how they can follow the national amended air quality standards or not. So first we have to we have to take this as a primary step. And then next one is the mobile source and the stationary source regulations. Mobile source and stationary source regulations, the EPA. So here EPA means is called Environmental Protection Act. We already know that has a authority to regulate the emissions from vehicles. So what are the carbon dioxides and carbon monoxide, and what are the pollutant gases which you are emission from that our vehicles? It can be controlled by the, it can be it is an authority to control that particular emissions is a Environmental Protection Agency. Mm, Environmental Protection Agency and the industrial plants and the stationary sources. For example, emissions from cars must meet the strict limit on pollutants like nitrogen oxides and the carbon monoxides. So the emissions from that cars and then must meet the strict limits. Means what are the limits? For example, Aam Aadmi Party government, before 6 years back, or maybe 7 to 8 years back, they amended one rule that is nothing but odd and even number, odd even number vehicles. And for example, if any car number is the 4, that will come on roads on Monday. If any car number will be 5, that will comes on Tuesday. Means odd and even numbers. So odd number vehicles are come on that road on for particular day, and the even number cars are come on the roads very particular day. That is a very good choice to control the traffic regulations, to control the traffics, and as well as the air pollution in that particular area. Like that, in the same way, the EPA, having the Environmental Protection Authority, have the authority to control the what are the emissions from the vehicles. Must be limit, must be in the limit. Means nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, like that. Then next one is the air toxic. Here, air toxics. Air toxics are nothing but the Clean Air Act also mandate the EPA, mean Environmental Protection Agency, to regulate the toxic pollutants like benzene, asbestos, and the mercury, with the aim of to regulating their release into their air. So a particular EPA have the authority or mandatory mandates that to control the toxic pollutants like benzene and asbestos and mercury to enter into that environmental air, to reducing that air quality. They can be controlled and monitored by that particular EPA. is Environmental Protection Agency. The next one is coming to the second one, that is the European Union. European Union. The European Union enforce a strict air quality standards through the both directives and the regulations. So EU government means European government also took the uh, strict and standard rules and regulations and directions for to control the air pollution in that particular country. Ambient air quality directive is the 2008 by 50 by is that then this directive sets air quality standards for pollutants and required members of states to monitor the air quality. It covers the pollutant like this government took another step that is a very nice. The government can form a body, and also it can be took the one persons from the from part of the states which are present in that, but the European Union, they can collect the and for each and every state they have to took the member, and a particular member or a ministers or can have the capacity to maintain or regulate the rules and to control the emissions of the particulate matter, nitrogen dioxide, ozone, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and lead. All the members which are represented from the particular state, they have to submit their reports from that states to the government. It is the European government. This is the first thing which were taken by the European Union. That is very nice. The next one is the European National Emission Ceilings Directive. This regulation sets limits the national emissions key to the air quality. It can also put the limits and standards for that particular pollutants for like that sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, ammonia, volatile organic compounds, and vehicle emissions standards. The EU sets a strict emission standards for the cars and the trucks also, for the cars and the trucks also, for the cars and the trucks. Also, the European standards, European government put the standards are reducing the emissions of nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, and particulate matter. So, the next one coming to China. China has made a significant strides in the tracking air pollution, especially since 2010, when this issue became a major public concern. So, uh, in 2010, the particular issue become as a major public concern. Why? Because tracking that air pollution means that the quality of the standard, the quality of the air in that particular China is that only the minimum level. Why? Because there is the number of population, and there is no proper forest cover. That's why the China faces that air quality disputes. In 2010, the particular China government get concentrated on that particular air quality. That air quality can as a major concern. Now coming to that, what are the acts, and then what are the standard qualities which were followed by the China after 2010? Okay, then next one, the Air Pollution Prevention and Control Action Plan. Air Pollution Prevention and Control Action Plan 2013. So, and this plan aims to improve the air quality by reducing the particulate matter and other pollutants, it including the policies for reducing emissions from industrial sources, empowering vehicle emission standards, similar to the European and US, and also promoting the cleaner energy. These are the three main steps which are taken by the China government to reduce to reduce or control the pollution act. Emission of the Pollution Act. This plan aims to improve the quality, what is reducing the particulate emissions of the um, reduce PM means when the particulate, the size of the particulate, and that any particle, it may be a dust particle, it may be a chemical particle, it may be a something. The particulate matter below 2.5, below 2.5 is the very dangerous, but above 3.5, sorry, above 2.5 is it's a very good. About 2.5 means it can flow through the long distance by the wind as a dust particle. That's why we have to first control that reducing the emissions from the industrial sources. What are the industrial sources? From that industrial sources, we have to reduce the PM of that particular uh, emissions, PM of that particular emissions. Then improving the vehicle emission standards. Okay, increase the vehicle emissions standards. For example, per that liter of petrol, the mileage is the 10, then that is the mileage. mm, uh, don't use that the complete mileage, just when we are reached that 8 mileage is the 8, then we have to fill up your tank. That maybe reduce the burning capacity of the fuel in our vehicle. It can also reduce the emissions. So how to maintain the clean and the proper wash and the proper vehicle mechanics. What is nothing but the cleaning, oil changing. What are the steps we are going to take the healthy motor vehicle engines. We have to follow at the time to time to control the emissions and the standards. The next one is the promoting the a cleaner energy. Cleaner energy is nothing but biomass energy and the burning of fossil fuels. To reduce the fossil fuels, we have to use that energy in sufficient mode. These are the promoting a cleaner energy. Then next one is the air quality standards. The air quality standards in China, national emittent air quality standards are based on the World Health Organization recommendations and include the limits for PM 2.5, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, ozone, and carbon monoxide. And so the air quality standards of China National Amendment, air quality standards, according to that World Health Organization, the limits of the PM, nitrogen, sulfurs, and ozone carbon monoxides. So the regulation on heavy industry, some regulations also imposed, some regulations also that are imposed on heavy industries. The heavy industries, China has an aggressive targeting a major polluting industries, particularly coal burning, power plants, and the steel mills to cut the emissions to improve the air quality. So why? Because the particular China government can concentrate on that regulation of heavy metal industry means the China has that a number one populated country, and the population is the very high. For the population, they are going to supply the food, they are going to provide the crops, they are going to provide the shelter for everything. The what are the uses and what are the requirements of the people is the very high. That's why the coal burning, power plants, steel units, these are the heavy industries are very high in that particular China. Why? Because to employ the all the citizens of the China. That's why the China government can impose the can some impose a target that some pollute target sorry can create then some targets to control the air pollutions for that emissions. Uh, are mainly on the industries of a coal burning, power plants, and steel mills to cut the emissions to improve the air quality. Then India, coming to the India, air pollution is the major problem in India, and the government has implemented a variety of measures to control the emissions. All through the enforcement remains challenge. So India is always a developing country. It is not a developed country. For each and every second, for each and every day, for each and every year, for each and every area, India is said to be a developing country. It is a developing country. Air pollution is the major problem in India. The government imposed the variety of a control emission laws, emissions all through the enforcement remains a challenge. National Amendment Air Quality Standards. The Central Pollution Control Board sets a limit for the air pollution. So Central Pollution Control Boards can set some limits for that air pollutions. That is nothing but particulate matter 10 and 10 to particulate matter 2.5. That is the limit for the particulate dust particles and anything. It may be a chemical particle, it may be anyone. Then next one is that ozone, nitrogen dioxide, and sulfur. Dioxide. Graded response action plans. Graded response action plan. This is a one type of plan which the government of India took place. This action plan is implemented in Delhi in other NCR region. Depending on the severity of air pollution, it includes the emergency measures to reduce the vehicular emissions, construction dust, and that industrial emissions during the high pollution events. So what are the high pollution events? For example, in Deepavali, or it may be um any festival, any marriage, or any birthday, or any good celebrations, or any bad celebrations in India, we are going to blast the bombs. That is nothing but the crackers. It may be create the one type of air pollution. That's why based on that situation and pollution status of that particular area, they are going to give the permission to burn the crackers under any occasion of a marriage, birthday, or death, birth, or anything. This is now known as a grade response action plan, which are implemented in Delhi and NCRA regions. Then coming to the next one, vehicle emission standards. So these are the vehicle emission standards. Means India has adopted that Bharat stage 6, BSA 6. What is the BSA 6 means? Emission standards, which are the similar Euro 6 standards to reduce the vehicle emissions of nitrogen dioxides and the particulate matter along with the hydrocarbons. We have to control the vehicular pollutions with the help of a Bharat stage program. Bharat stage la mainly you have to control that nitrogen oxides, particulate matter, and hydrocarbon emissions from our vehicles. Then coming to the next one, that is the Canada. Mm, Canada. Canada's a Canadian Environmental Protection Act. Canadian Environmental Protection Act is a primary legislation governing air pollution. The Canadian government sets air quality standards to protect the health and the environment. So, as well as all the countries are take the actions for for their air quality standards for the protecting health and the environment only. Uh, in that way, the Canada government also can took that some air quality laws, that is nothing but the ambient air quality standards. Canada standards include the limits of pollutants, particulate matter, ozone, nitrogen dioxide, and sulfur dioxide. For each and every country can have the limitations on these four, or maybe include a volatile organic compounds. These are the five major key air pollutants. Key air pollutants, mobile and stationary regulations. The government has a limits for the emissions of industrial factories, vehicles, and the equipment. So the air quality compromise. Sorry, the air quality standards. Here, a quick summary of key air quality standards in the different regions. Pollutant here is the particulate matter 2.5, 5% WHO guideline according to the World Health Organization guidelines. In US, it is a 12 per annual. In EU, in European countries, it is the 25th by annual, and in China, it is a 35, but in India, it is the 60. The next one is the pollutant particulate 10 milligram per meter cube. You keep busy by that meter cube 20 annual as the guideline by the World Health Organization 50. Mm, yes, daily 50. And next one is the coming to the Europeans, it is the 40. And coming to the China, it is a 70 um, for daily, and it is 100 for India as a daily. When compared to the other state, India is that very high. Then why? Because already we said India is a developing country, construction dust is very high. And the next one is the ozone. 100 milligrams per meter, 100 meters go for 8 hours, 70 per 8 hours, 180 per hourly, means in USA standards, and China is a 160 hourly and 180 for hourly in India. In this case, also India is in the highest range for NO2 and for SO2. For coming to the NO2 means nitrogen in dioxide 40 per annual in according with the World Health Organization guidelines, and 53 annual by US standards, 40 annual by US standards, and 40 annual by China standards, and the 40 annual by the India standards. Sulfur dioxide 20 for 24 hours, 75 by 1 hour in US, and 125 by 1 hour EU, and 500 per hour in China, and the 80 per 24 hours. In this, the India it's occupy that second place, but in the sulfur emissions, China took first place. Why? Because 500 milligram meter cube per hour means how much amount of the sulfur dioxide can be released by the China people, by maybe a vehicular pollution, but maybe a industrial pollution, that may be any pollution, but the sulfur compounds are the very high in the China when comparing to the remaining other countries, and also it can cross the limits of the World Health Organizations. Mm, World Health Organizations, the enforcement and the challenge. Coming to the next topic, that is a continue from this chapter. That is nothing but enforcement and challenges. Enforcing air quality laws and the standards can be challenging. So what are the standards and what are the laws that were present in our book? Just we have to read out and we have to know the what is what and what is good for our environment, what is good for our health. Everything is okay. But the following, we have to practice that particular laws and we have to obey the rules and regulations of that particular enforcement charges is a very difficult, especially in rapidly growing cities of regions where the industrialization is the major driver of a pollution. For example, already I said India is a developed country. For each and every corner, for each and every second, it may be any corner of the India, the constructions will be going on. Then what will happen when the construction will be going on? There is a number of dust will be produced. In that situations, we are not going to follow the any environmental laws and any going to follow any environmental changes. Uh, that is the very common. Then next one to the common challenges are include lack of monitoring and enforcement capacity. So yes, that is the best point. Lack of monitoring means the government has to put the separate government, a separate ministry for the pollution controls. And it also can took place that what are the persons, and some persons are going to monitor the people in this particular environment laws and for follow that enforcement of the capacities and the challenges, rules and regulation and standards, and it can be continually monitored by the government people. It may be a good, it will be helpful for our government to control the air pollutions with the up to 20 to 30%. The next one to the conflict between the economic development and the environmental protection. Yes, this is the second point. Conflict between the economic development and that environmental protection and that economic development. When that particular economic development will happen, the protection of the environment will be less. It may be a construction, it may be something, anything, it may be development, it may be industrialization, it may be a globalization. It will be goes in only one way. We have to left that another safe mode of the a way to protect the environment by following the environment laws and standards. Yes, that's why we put here as a conflict between the economic development and the environmental protections. And then coming to the next one, a public awareness and companies complaints, right? Some regulations might be in the place. Some regulations in the might be maybe what are the high polluted area, for example, Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and what are the highly polluted, what are the highly polluted region in that particular regions, and we have to follow them special regulations. but the industries and the individuals may not always comply, especially in the developing nations. So, where the particular industries are very high, what are that coal burning industries? It may be paper industries, oil industries, it may be any type of industries in that particular country or the state. They are going to follow the separate environmental laws and standards when compared to the other one. Or each and every individual people also try to follow the environmental rules, just try to aware the what is good and what is the bad for our environment, to control what we have to do to control the air pollution in our surroundings. And this is topic about that first, as first I said, air pollution laws and the standards, and these are the main five countries we discussed. First one is the United States, then next one is the European Union, and next one coming to China, and fourth one is the India, and fifth one is the Canada. These are the five majors uh, countries which are discussed in the chapter, mm, block 1 unit 6, under the environmental laws and the standards. And then coming to the next one, that is the block 2, the meteorological aspects, right? That next one is the meteorological aspects. So in this meteorological aspects play a crucial role in the behavior. So in the behavior, the meteorological aspects are going to play a very key role. Dispersion and the concentration of air pollution pollutants in the atmosphere, where we have to play the crucial role. Means what are the crucial roles which you are playing? Means in the dispersion and the concentration of the air pollutants in the atmosphere. Understanding how weather and climate influence air pollution, how that particular weather and the climate can influence the air pollution, how it can be affect to our nature, how it can be affect to our ecosystems, how can it can be affect to the health of everyone and everything. Influence pollution is a key managing and the predicting air quality. So for to controlling the air quality, for the better environment, for the better protection of the environment, environmental pollution control is a key to manage the predicting the environmental quality. So here are the meteorological factors that affect an air pollution. Affect the key meteorological factors including air pollutions. Means speed, wind speed, direction. Just a minute. So then next one is the key meteorological factors, including the air pollution. That one is the wind speed and the direction. This is the first point in the meteorological factor. And what is the wind speed? Wind plays a vital role in dispersing the pollutants. So the high winds Also, the high winds can help to dilute the pollutants by carrying them away from the source and reducing the concentration. Consequently, low wind speeds allow the pollutants to accumulate near their source, often leading to the higher concentrations. When the wind speed can control the can control the vital again dispersing that. High winds can help. The high winds can imply to kind of control the dilute of the pollutants. When, for example, maybe one factory can release the parts per millions above the 2.5, above the 2.5 chemicals, then that can be a very concentrated, really occupy the space near that particular factory regions. But when that wind speed can happen, that it can be dispersed easily and all the directions, and the quality and the standards, and reducing the concentration of the particular chemical in that particular area. That is the good thing which were discussed in this particular wind speed. Then coming to that next one, wind direction. In which direction the particular wind, in which directions the particular wind will blow. So wind can transport pollutants over a long distances. For example, the pollution from the industrial areas may travel into the residential zones or across the borders, affecting the areas far from the sources. So, what are the residential areas and what are the areas where we are going to live? What are the animal habitations? Because of that wind direction flow, the concentration of the particular chemicals and concentration of the air pollution, it may be dispersed in the all directions. So the concentration is it very low where it is the sensitive regions, right? And then coming to the next one, that is the temperature inversions. Some temperature inversions. A temperature inversion occurs when a layer of warm air traps a cooler air near the ground, preventing the pollutants from rising and dispersing. This mm, can lead to the accumulation of pollutants and over a lower atmosphere region. So it is somewhat difficult. Again, I'm going to explain that is nothing but the temperature inversions, how that particular temperature can affect the air quality means a temperature inversion occurs when a layer of warm air when a layer of that warm air traps cooler air. Warm air can comes and it traps the cooler air near the ground. Near the ground, the trapping between the cooler air and that warm air, then preventing the pollutants from rising and dispersing. Then what will happen? It can be merged. The when warm air can mix with that cooler air, it can preventing the pollutants can rising from dispersing. So that is the rising and the dispersion of the pollutants can be reduced because of the weight and pressure of the cool air. This can lead to the accumulation of pollutants in lower atmosphere. So that can help that what are the pollutants which are present in that particular area, it can be accumulated or it can be stay in that particular lower regions only. It cannot blow, it cannot be rising, it cannot be dispersing to the other sides, creating a smog. Then it would form, it can will be formed as a creating a smog. The temperature inversions are particularly common in valley and coastal regions with the cooler air near the surface. So this fog formation, the chemicals fog, and what are the fog formations in the valley regions and the coastal regions, that are nothing but due to the temperature inversion, the fogs will be formed. It will be very common in the coastal valleys and the coastal regions valleys and that are coastal regions. Then coming to the next one, winter inversions often occur in cities during the winter months, trapping the pollutants like smoke, vehicles emissions, and industrial fumes close to the ground. That are close to that ground. Then what will happen? The pollutants, smoke, vehicle emissions, industrial fumes are that close to the ground. It can have the pressure from that cold and cold air. That's why the smoke will be formed easily in that winter. Why? Because the temperature inversions are very high in that winter. That's why the fog will be formed. In summer inventions, it can trap the pollutants like ground level ozone, which from in the presence of the sunlight and heat up. So can trap the pollutants. What are the pollutants which you are discussed as the key pollutants in that environment? That can be at a ground level zone, that can be at the ground level zone which can forms the presence of a sunlight and heating. So all these are the present at the ozone level. It can create the heat with the help of that sunlight. So coming to the next one, that is the ground level ozone formation. The next one is that a ground level ozone formation. Ground level ozone formation means a high temperature can increase the rate which ground level ozone is formed. Ozone forms when nitrogen oxides and the volatile organic compound react with the presence of the sunlight. Then where when the ozone will be formed means when the nitrogen oxides, when the organic compounds come to react with that uh, come to react with that volatile compounds. volatile organic compounds in the presence of the sunlight, the particular ozone will be formed. Therefore, during the hot sun days, ozone concentrations can rise. So during the summers and midday of the summers, that is nothing but the May, April, mid-April to May, May, mid-April to the end of the May, there are during the hot summer days, the ozone concentrations can rise and causing the health problems like respiratory issues. So it can be form the ozone concentrations and it can create that or respiratory issues to the humans. The next one, um, the most important thing is nothing but that humidity, right? The pollutant interactions with the water vapor. When the pollutants are going to react with the water vapor, the high humidity can influence the formation of a certain pollutants. So when that particular humidity can react with that water vapor can form that certain pollutants. It can be create a new pollutant, for example particulate matter 2.5. It can be absorbed moisture very easily and making it heavier and causing settle out of the air more quickly. So when that particulate matter 2.5 can react with the water vapor, it can become the cool and it can become a heavier. It can easily stable and stick in the air more quickly. However, in the areas, next one, however, in the areas with the high humidity pollutants like sulfur oxides, then the nitrogen oxides can combine with the water vapor. Nitrogen oxides and sulfur oxides can combine with the water vapor to form that acidic compounds, contributing the acidic rains, contributing that acidic rains. Then next one is the smog formations in high humidity conditions. In high humidity conditions means high humidity conditions are nothing but the what are the coastal regions where there are large water bodies, maybe rivers or oceans? What are the villages and what are the human settlements which are present in that particular river banks and the ocean banks? They can really experience the what is the high humidity, what is the problems coming from the high humidity conditions. In high humidity conditions, the smog, the combination of the smoke is a formation can form leading to a poor air quality, then often problem in the cities with the high level of the industrial activity or air traffic. So when the humidity will be high, the suffocate, it can be also creating the suffocating. When the humidity can react with the temperature, it can form a jelly-like substances. When in the summer, we are going to feel that oily skin of the some people. Why? Because they are in that high humidity regions, high temperatures can react to form it like that. And then in cities, what are the urban developments in that level, the industrial activities at the traffic regions also we can form some suffocating and forms like it smog-like structures, smoke formations will be happen in the particular regions, right? Then coming to that atmospheric pressure. Atmospheric pressure, the high pressure systems. What are the high pressure systems? Means when high pressure system dominate an area, when that high pressure system can dominate an area, they generally bring a clear, calm and conditions and a limited air movement. So high pressure system is nothing but when high pressure system dominated in particular area. What are the conditions of the particular area? Here I mentioned generally bring that a clear six and calm conditions and limited in air movements. The air movements, the movements of the air is very limited because of the high pressure. These conditions can trap the pollutants near the surface. So what are the conditions which are present in that particular area that can trap the pollutants in that particular surface, near the surface, leading to the higher concentration of pollutants? So then what will happen? What are the pollutants which are present in that particular area? They are going to concentrate in that one area. One area, then what happened? The particular area have the high concentration of the pollutants. This is often the case in cities with the heavy vehicle emissions and the industrial pollution. So these conditions are mainly we are urban in that metropolitan cities or where are the industrial areas that we can observe this situation, that is nothing but the high pressure systems. due to the atmosphere, due to the atmospheric high pressure. The next one is the low pressure system. The low pressure system can promote the mixing and dispersal of air pollutants. The low pressure system can promote the mixing and dispersal of air pollutants. Mixing and dispersal of air pollutant. This system are often associated with the storms, unsettled weather, which can help to reduce the polluted concentrations by allowing for more vertical and horizontal mixing of the air. So vertical and horizontal mixing of the air that can be happen with the help of the low pressure system. It may be very helpful to the pollutants to mix and dispersal in the all the directions. It is not concentrated in that particular area as the high pressure system will be took place. It is a very different and it is a very easy and safest method. And the next one is the precipitations. And then coming to the next one, that is the precipitation, rainfall. Rainfall also, the precipitation in, especially rainfall, can act as a natural cleaner by washing the pollutants out of the atmosphere. So rainfall is a natural uh, cleaner by washing the pollutants. So what are the pollutants which are present in the atmosphere? It all the pollutants can drained out or washed out by the rainwater. This process is known as the deposition. This process is known as the wet deposition. For example, rain can remove the particulate matter and gases like sulfur dioxide from the air. What will happen when the rain will comes? The particulate matter will be washed out as well as the sulfur dioxide from the air. The next one is the acid rains. When the rain combines with the acidic pollutants, what are the acidic pollutants? Already we discussed that sulfur dioxides, nitrogen dioxides. The combination of these, which can forms that acid pollutants, it can result in the acid rain, which harms the plant, aquatic ecosystems, buildings. The major concern in the areas of significant of industrial emissions, where that particular area is dominated by the industries. In that particular area, acid rains are very common due to the presence of high concentration of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide in that particular air can create the acid rains. It can also damage the aquatic ecosystems. It's harmful to the plants, it's harmful to the buildings, it's harmful to the humans. It is harmful to the each and every organism which is present in this on the earth. um, these are the two main important things which are discussed in the precipitation. Then next one is the solar radiations. Next one is that solar radiation. What is solar radiation? Is nothing but sunlight or photochemical reactions. A photochemical sunlight drives the formation of the secondary pollutants. What are the sunlight drives the formation of the secondary pollution? When the sunlight come into the atmosphere and react with that particular pollutants, it can forms the secondary pollutants, particularly ground level ozone. Ground level ozone will be formed as a secondary level pollutants with the help of sunlight. When pollutants like nitrogen oxides, uh, alkyl compounds are exposed to the sunlight, they undergo a photochemical reactions leading to the creation of ozone. When they are going to the some chemical photochemical reaction leading to form the ozone. Ozone is a harmful pollutant at the ground level. It can accelerated respiratory issues, especially during the summer, hot summer month. When the ozone concentrations are very high at the ground level, it may be a cause the respiratory issues in the hot summer seasons also. And the next one is the urban heat island. The next one is that urban heat, sorry, urban heat island effect. Cities can experience the higher temperatures. The cities can experience the higher temperature than the surrounding rural areas, as it is a very fact when compared to the surrounding areas of the rural are the very cool when compared to the cities. This phenomena is known as the urban heat island effect. This particular phenomena is known as the urban heat island effect. This effect occurs because of the buildings, roads, and other infrastructures absorbed and retain the heat. So, Why? Because in the urban areas, the temperatures are high means what are the concrete buildings and what are the structures, what concrete roads, concrete buildings, glass buildings, what are the infrastructures which you are follow in the surroundings. All the things it can absorb the radiations, it can absorb the heat from the sun directly. It can be retain the heat, it can be hold the heat. It can be a hold the heat. The increased temperature can accelerate the formation of the ground level. Then what will happen? How that heat will escape from the from the earth surface? There is no chance, and there is no, actually there is no way to escape that much amount of heat to the space. Then that ground level ozone will be formed, it leading to the worst air quality in the air, and that's why the ozone quality will be high in that air pollutant in the urban areas. That's why the air quality is a very worst in the urban areas. uh, as of my knowledge, these two are the new things. As I learned, uh, these two are the very, I'm very surprised. Actually, I don't know about this one, but today I discussed, it is a very helpful. Mm, that is very good. Then coming to the next one, a topography, a geographical features, right? The geographical features means valley and the basins. So, what are the temperatures? What are the temperatures of the valley and the basins? Air pollution is often more concentrated in valleys or basins. So, in valleys or basins, the temperatures are difference will be there, right? Mm, what are the plateau regions? The temperatures are the difference. What are the coastal regions? The temperatures are the different. Like that, the valley and the basins areas temperatures are the very different, where the land where the land escape and trap air masses, can trap the air. For example, in areas surrounded by the mountains such as Los Angeles, Mexico City, air pollution can be trapped in that basin. So the what are the pollutants which can be trapped, it can be settled down, it can be stable in that particular valley regions, in that particular basin regions. For example, in that Mexican city, in that Mexico City and the Los Angeles, the pollutants will be stable in that particular region, exaggerating the effects of the temperatures inversions and leading to persistent smoke and poor air quality. Is leading to the persistent and a poor air quality. Why? Because there is no drain of particular pollutants in that valley and basinal regions. The next one, coming to the coastal region, what will happen in the coastal regions? In the coastal regions can experience a particular meteorological condition such as a breeze that influence the pollution level. So in the coastal region, we are going to experience the sometimes a cold sea breezes and sometimes it is the hot sea breezes, right? So some that cold sea breezes can influence the pollution levels. For instance, the wind blowing in the form of the sea can bring the fresh air and help the despair of the pollutants. Then what will happen? The wind is blowing, it can be fresh air, it may be despair of the pollutants. However, the coastal areas may also experience the high levels of humidity, which can be promote the smoke formation. As of my knowledge, I already discussed about that. What are the coastal regions have the high humidity? Um, it can help to promoting the smoke formation, especially when combined with the temperature inversions condition. In temperature inversion conditions in coastal areas also, the smog formation will be takes place. Then coming to the next one, air pollution and weather patterns. Where I am right now, right here. Air pollutions and the weather pattern. Seasonal variations. Air pollution levels can vary significantly across the season due to the changes in weather. In the weather changes, the pollution variations will be takes place according to their season. For example, in winter, heating systems and the burning of fossil fuels in colder climates can lead to the high level of particulate matter, while in summer, high temperatures may increase the ozone formation. In winter season, we are going to enjoy the catch fires. Then the fossil fuel to burn the fossil fuels to burning that heating the rooms and all, we are burning the fossil fuels. The colder climates can lead to the high level of particulate. Then what will happen? The high amount of the particulate matter can be released into our atmosphere. This is our type of air pollution in that winter season, and in that high temperature means in the summer, it maybe increase the ozone formation, right? And this one, next one is the extreme weather events. What are the extreme weather events means? Certain extreme weather events such as the hurricanes, wildfires, heat waves can significantly impact the air pollution. So these also can affect the air pollution. A wildfire, for instance, produce a large amount of particulate matter and ozone um, percures. Precures. Okay, so ozone percures and that then large amount of instance and large amount of carbon monoxide will be released in the wildfires will takes place. Particulate matters are that very high. Ozone formations also form, which can lead to the severe air quality issues over a wide area. So it can lead to the quality of the air in that wide area. Then next one is the climate change effect. The next one is the climate change effect. A long-term climate change such as a rising temperatures. Long-term climate changes such as rising the temperatures may excrete air pollution. For instance, hotter weather can increase the formation of ozone. Already we know the hotter climates can form that ozone. While more instance, the heat waves could lead to the longer period of stagnation, whether air pollution accumulates due to the limited diversion. So in the summer, we are going to experience the very hot waves. Yes, in the very hot waves, that is not in the very heat waves, it can be affect the pollutants. It will affect the air pollutants. Then next one coming to that, air quality forecasting and the meteorology. Air quality for forecasting and the meteorology. The meteorological data is integral of forcing the air quality. The meteorological data is having a connection with the forecasting the air quality, as it helps predict how pollutants will move and accumulate, how the pollutants will move and how the pollutants can react with the particular high pressure regions, low pressure regions, valleys, coastal areas, basins, what are the temperature zones, what are the wind flow, what are the directions of the wind, all the things will be accumulated. Then the air quality forecasting use of the combination of weather predictions. So weather prediction to assess the wind pattern, temperature, and the prescription. In the middle of we are going to predict that monsoon state, that is nothing but the weather predictions maybe in that way, in the directions the cold winds, the cold breezes can enter into our state, then it will form the precipitation, it will be caused to the rains, and it is a very common, as of all of you know. The next Coming to the next one, atmospheric models to stimulate the dispersion of pollutants, to can stimulate the dispersion of the pollutants by the atmosphere. What are the conditions of the atmosphere? It may be stimulate the dispersion of the pollutants very easily. The air quality and monitoring networks to observe the real-time concentration of pollutants and the valid models and the real-time pollutants, we can observe the quality of the air, and monitoring the networks are very confidently and very effectively and very efficiently. And these forecasts help the authorities issues health advisories like air quality index to protect the vulnerable populations, especially during this high pollution risk. So what are the conditions of which all the topics which are discussed under this topic, it may be very helpful to the health advisors and the environmentalists to calculate the air quality, and especially during the high protection risk areas. With the help of them, we can protect them, we can save them, we can control the air pollution also. Then summary of the meteorological impact. Summary of that meteorological impacts on air pollutions. The air pollution, we have to give the summary. The wind speed and the direction affect the pollutant dispersion. Yes. The temperature influence inversion conditions and ozone formation. It's absolutely true. Then next one is the humidity can influence the pollutant. deposition and smoke formation. It will be happen in the summer, it may be in the winter, and what may be a valley regions, it may be a coastal or basin regions. Due to the dispersion, no dispersion of the pollutants, they can be settled down and form like a smog-like structures. Then coming to the next one, the pressure system, the high pressure traps pollutants and the low pressure acids and dispersions. Yes, the precipitations help can clean the pollutants but can cause the acid rains. Yes, because of the rains, we can clean the particulate matter as well as the sulfur dioxide, as of all discussed in the above points. Then it may be a cause to the acid rains with the combination of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide, very harmful. Then coming to the solar radiation, also a very plays a key role. It drives the photochemical reactions, contributing of the ozone formation. It's very highly up to 80%, and the topography, the valleys and the basins can trap the pollutions. Yes, it's true. A coastal areas may have a sea breeze effects. Yes, it may have the sea breeze effects. Sometimes it is a cold breezes. It also can affect the pollutions. The hot breezes, it also can affect that pollutants. So in both the ways, it will be affect. Meteorological conditions are thus a critical component of air pollutants, dynamic influencing both short-term and the long-term concentration of the pollutants. Yes, it's absolutely. When the short-term and the long-term of the concentration of the pollutant, it's maybe a meteorological leads the critical components of the pollutants. That's why we are going to decrease, are going to follow the what are the policies and what are the quality standards which are suggested by our environmentalists and our government to follow for the controlling of the air pollution. Would you like to uh, dive to how specific pollutants interact with the weather and how cities use meteorology in their air quality management? So these are the very important topic. Till now, we are going to discuss what are the meteorological aspect. Just I am going to revise just in fast mode, just to give the clarity about the topic. In that second block, meteorological accept, the factors, what are the key meteorological factors influencing the air pollution? Now we are already we discussed, just we are completing that one. That first one is that the wind speed and the direction. The wind speed and the direction. The next one is that in the wind speed and the direction, also two types, wind speed and wind directions. In the temperature, we are already discussed the what are the temperature inventions, what are the interventions, what are the summer inventions, and how the ground level ozone formations will be formed. In the third one is the humidity. In that humidity, we are already discussed about the pollutant reactions with the water vapor and the smog formations. Then coming to the fourth one, the atmospheric pressure, high pressure and low pressure. We discussed in this particular atmospheric pressure conditions. Then coming to the next one, precipitation, rainfall and acid rain. Coming to the sixth one as the solar radiation, that is nothing but the sunlight. In that first one, the photochemical reactions, and second one is the urban heat island effect. Both are the very important. Then coming to the seventh one, that is the topography and geographical features, valley and basins and the coastal areas. Then next one is the air pollution and the weather patterns, means seasonal variations, extreme weather conditions, then climate change and effect. Then coming to the next one, air quality forecasting and meteorology. In this one, we are going to discuss that weather predictions, atmospheric models, air quality monitoring networks, and coming to that next one, air quality index, the summary of the meteorological aspects and air pollutions. And these are the about that meteorological aspects, meteorological aspects of the air pollutions. This is the first one which are including in the black too. Then coming to the unit 7. Um, coming to that unit 7. Then the unit 7, we are going to discuss about that air pollution dispersion. Air pollution dispersion refers to how the pollutants such as a gases, particulates, chemicals are spread out in the atmosphere after they are released from the source. After from the release from the source, how the particular pollutants can um, particulates can how they move and how they change the environment, how they change that chemical compound and physical properties. The dispersion of a pollutants is heavily influenced by the various meteorological factors. Yes, the dispersion of the pollutants is heavily influenced by the various meteorological factors, particularly temperature, lapse rates, and the atmospheric stability. These factors are dedicated to how easily pollutants can mix, rise, and spread in the air. These are the three factors. How it will be happen, now we are going to discuss, right? Then coming to the next one, first one is the temperature lapse rate. Then next, coming to the temperature lapse rate. The temperature lapse rate refers to the rate at which air temperature decreases, at which the air temperature will be decreases with an increasing in the altitude. With increasing in that altitude in a stable atmosphere, the temperature typically decreases with the highest, but this rate can be varied depending on the local conditions and the time to day. So the temperature lapse rate, once again, I'm going to read. It's somewhat difficult to understand. The temperature lapse rate refers to the rate which the temperature decreases with an increasing altitude. When that increasing the altitude, then the temperature will be decreases. In a stable atmosphere, the temperature typically decreases when the height, but it can be raised a very vary depending on the local conditions. It can be a decrease in the temperatures depending on the local conditions of the day and particular situations of that particular time, right? Then next one is the standard lapse rate. On average, the air temperature decreased. The air temperature is decreased by 6.5 degrees centigrade per kilometer of latitude, known as the environmental lapse rate. So when the air temperature decreases is about 6.5 degrees centigrade per the kilometer. That is known as the environmental lapse rate in the troposphere. However, this is just a general rule, and the actual rate can vary. It is just a general thing. The actual can be between, maybe sometime it may be high, it may be low, based on that temperature and based on the topographical conditions of that particular area, right? Then next one is the adiabatic lapse rate. The lapse rate can also be described in terms of adiabatic lapse rate, which the measures the temperature change the parcel of air rises descendants without exhaling with the surroundings. So when the temperature adiabatic rates temperature means with the temperature changes the parcel rise the, when air temperature will be rise, the pollutants will be rise. When it is low, it can be a low with the help of the surroundings which are present in that particular area. Coming to the adiabatic lapse rate, when the air is unsaturated, the air is unsaturated, by the temperature drops at the rate is about 10 to 10 degrees centigrade per kilometer. It can be a decrease, then it we call it as a adiabatic lapse rate. Then next one is the moist adiabatic lapse rate. When the air saturated with the water vapor, the temperature drops more slowly when compared to the first one. The temperature will be decreased very slowly, typically around 5 degrees centigrades. Mm, 5 degree centigrades, 5 degree centigrades per kilometer in that moist adiabatic lapse rate will be happen. Learn to the heat during the conditions, and these are the very important lapse rate to follow this one. Then coming to the next one, where I am, yes, implications of the lapse rate, implications of lapse rate for the air pollution, stability and the stability and bouncy. If a pollutant is released into atmosphere, the bouncy of the air is influenced by the lapse rate. The bouncy of the air is which is influenced by the lapse rates, that is nothing but the stability and bouncy. stability and buoyancy, stability and that buoyancy. The unstable conditions, if the environmental lapse rate is greater than the dry abatic lapse rate, abatic lapse rates, that is the temperature decreases faster than 10 degrees centigrade per kilometer. The atmospheric conditions, the atmosphere is considered unstable. In these conditions, the pollutants are more likely to rise to disperse, leading to a better air quality in that particular area. This is a one type of unstable condition. Then coming to the say stable conditions, in that stable conditions, if that environmental lapse rate is very lower than the a dry abatic lapse rate, that is the a temperature decreasing more slowly with the high, the temperature stable, the pollutants will be less likely to rise and disperse, causing them to accumulate near the ground and leading to the poor air quality. Again, then it leading to the a poor air quality in the stable conditions. The next one is the neutral conditions. If the environmental lapse rate approximately equal to the dry abatic lapse rate, the atmosphere is a neutral and the vital mixing of the pollutants are the moderate. These are the third condition in the implications of lapse rate of air pollution dispersion. In that, the first one is the stability and buoyancy. In the stability and buoyancy, the subtopics are unstable conditions, stable conditions, and the neutral conditions. In the stable conditions, the temperature will be decreased 10 degrees for the 10 degrees centigrade per kilometer. In that second one, the temperature will be decreased 5 degree degree centigrades per kilometer. And third one is the neutral conditions. Then we are going to discuss that next topic, that is nothing but atmospheric stability and the pollution dispersion. So, in that atmospheric stability is a key factor that control how the pollutants move vertically and horizontally in the atmosphere. How that particular pollutants can move vertically or horizontally in the atmosphere. The stability is determined by the relation between. The stability is having the determined by the relation between the temperature of the air at the ground level and the temperature of the air at the high air altitude. These are the main point. In that particular atmospheric stability pattern, how the pollutants move vertically and horizontally in the atmosphere. Stability is determined by the relationship between the temperature and the air, the ground level, and the temperature of the air at higher altitudes. Temperature of the air at that higher altitudes. Then coming to next one, the effect on the dispersion. The pollutants are trapped near the ground. When the pollutants are trapped at the near the ground, leading to a poor dispersion and high concentration of the pollution, leading to the poor dispersion and higher concentration of the pollutants. This is often seen in smog events, are during the cold weather when heating systems release the pollutants, like the particulate matter and the nitrogen dioxide. Particulate matters and the nitrogen dioxides. And then coming to the unstable atmosphere. In the unstable atmosphere, in an unstable atmosphere, the air at higher altitude is cooler than the air at the ground. It is a very true. The higher altitude, in the higher altitudes, the air is very cooler than that water, that air which is present on the ground. Why? Because the temperature of the ground, it can maybe affect the coolness of the air. This promotes the upward movement of air and causing the pollutant dispersion. This situation can promote the movement of the air, causing pollutants to the disperse, effect on dispersions. So pollutants are rapidly mixed and dispersed in the atmosphere. The pollutants are rapidly mixed and dispersed in the atmosphere. leading to a better air quality as the pollutants rise and diffuse. It may be a rise, it may be a diffuse. This is usually observed in often and during the warm weather. So what are the effects and what are the pollutants? Mainly the changes will happen in that what are the warm conditions of that particular area only. All the changes, all the types, all the labs, each and everything, the warmness is the very important, right? As I observed. Next, coming to the next one, that is that your neutral stability. The neutral conditions occur when the temperature decreases, when the temperature will be decreases at that same rate as dry ambient elapse rate. A vertical mixing in is moderate and the dispersion is typically more efficient than in stable conditions, but less so than it is a unstable conditions. So natural conditions occur when temperature decreases. Natural conditions when occur, the temperatures will be decreases at the same rate, at that same rate in the diabatic lapse rate, right? The vertical mixing of a moderate and a dispersion is typically more efficient. What are the dispersion is which will happen between the pollutants and that what are the atmospheric conditions? It is a very difficult, more efficient than the stable condition. Then form that more efficient stable conditions, but less so than that unstable conditions. But when compared to the other conditions, it is a very unstable conditions. These are the main things which are discussed about that temperature lapse rate. What are the key atmospheric stability types? What are the types of the stability? Atmospheric stability types means free convection. The free convection, when air is warmer near the surface than above, causing to rise freely. It happens in unstable conditions, adding the dispersed pollutants. Yeah, it's truly. The next one is the forced convection occurs when air is forcedly upward. When forcedly upward, example by mountains and the by air ponds, contributing to mixing and the dispersion, contributing to the mixing and the dispersion. The next one is the temperature inversions. A temperature inversions occur when a layer of warmer air, when a layer of that particular warmer air sits above the cooler air, effectively trapping pollutants. It can occur in the morning. It can occur in the morning or a night. Typical why? Because in the morning and the night means the temperatures are maybe dropped, right? Typically in areas with a little wind, inventions can last for hours or days and causes a serious pollution accumulation. So in where the particular areas there is no accumulations, mm, there is no wind inversions for hours or for a days. Uh, the particular inversions will be takes place when the temperatures and the particular conditions are in favorable. Means in the particular conditions are favorable in the means of the morning time and the night time. Maybe it happen. It can also create and cause the serious pollution of accumulations. Then coming to the next one. Then coming to the temperature inventions and the air pollutions. The temperature inventions are one of the most important meteorological phenomena affecting air pollution dispersion, particularly in urban areas or regions with the mountainous terrain. Yes, good. Then coming to the next one, what happens during the an invention? Then what happened? Now we are discussing, right? Normally, air becomes cooler with altitude, but during an inversion, the layer of the warm air sits on the top of the cooler air, as of all of know, near the surface. This area of a cap that prevents pollutants from rising into the higher atmosphere, leading to the buildup of pollution at the ground level. So these are the conditions to form the pollutants or build the pollutants at the ground level. The next one are the characteristics of the temperature inversions. What are the characteristics of the temperature inversions are nothing but the nighttime inversions. The nighttime inversions often occurs at a night when the ground cools quickly, causing the air near the surface to surface to cool faster than the air above it. Then coming to the next one, the radiation inventions occurs on a clear, calm nights where the surface loses heat rapidly, okay, cooling the air near the ground and trapping the pollutants. Okay. Then coming to the next one, subsidency inversions occurs when a large high pressure system push warm air down towards the surface, trapping the cooler air underneath. This can last for days, especially in the winters. Then coming to the next one, coastal inversions. In coastal areas, cool marine air may be trapped beneath a warmer air mass, resulting in the persistent pollutions or lies like Los Angeles or the Mexico City. Already we discussed. Then coming to the impact on the air quality, inventions, layers can cause that a dangerous increasing in a pollutants, concentrations, concentrations, particularly smog, that is nothing but a mixture of particulate matter and the ozone. And particulate matter 2.5, it is a more problematic in urban areas, as all of you know discussed about that one in that start the starting of the class with the high vehicle emissions and the industrial pollutions. And these are the things which we are discussing under the heading of the temperature inversions and air pollutions. Then coming to the next one, that is nothing but stability, stability classes, stability classes and the pollution dispersions. So the meteorologically classifying the stability of the atmosphere into various stability classes which help to predict the dispersion of the pollutant. First one is the class 1, a very unstable offer when the environmental lapse rate is much higher than the abiotic lapse rate, causing the pollutants to rise quickly and disappears efficiently. The next one, class B, is also a unstable. First one is the very unstable. Second one is the unstable only. It promotes upward movement of the air and the good dispersion through not a efficient as a class A. Then next one, class C, as a neutral in neutral. Uh, Pollutants are dispersed moderately. Class D is a stable one. The pollutants accumulate near the ground as a vertical mixing restricted, causing a poor dispersion. And class E is a very stable. It is at a very stable. First one is a very unstable, and class E is a very stable, occurring during the strong inversions, high pressure conditions, with very little vertical mixing of pollutants. This lead to the serious air quality issues, right? Then coming to the last one of the day, then next one is the class F. It is the inversion, extreme stability with the almost no vertical movement. The pollution can become trapped at the surface, leading to the very high concentrations. And these are the topics which were covered under that, which were covered under Wait, under Unit 7, Air Pollution Dispersions. Uh, in today's class, in today's class, we are going to discuss the what are the remaining and left unit which are present in the block 1, that is called as the Unit 6, named as that the what are the air pollution and the air pollution laws and standards. And coming to the block 2, in that block 2, the first main topic is the what are the meteorological aspects. In that meteorological aspects, we discussed meteorological factors influencing the air quality. And in that second block only, in the next unit is nothing but Unit 7, air pollution dispersion. In this air pollution dispersion, different types of uh, different types of subheadings are there. First one is the temperate lapse rate. Uh, it having temperature lapse rates. So the next one is the atmospheric stability and pollution dispersion. And the next one is the key atmospheric stability times. Third one is the temperature inversion and the air pollutions and the stability classes and end dispersions. And up to here, we are going to discuss in the next class, we are going to discuss the more unit. Thank you. Thank you all. This is Kavita.